All right, folks, if we could take a seat, we'll get this started. We're running a few minutes behind there as it is. I want to welcome everybody to the March 11th, 2014 Board of Selectmen's meeting. I would invite all of you to join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Little housekeeping first of all. There are openings on the following committees: the Bike Path Committee, Business Development Commission, Carver Cultural Council, Carver Housing Authority, a state representative, Commission on Disability, Earth Removal Committee, a growers representative, Finance Committee, Local Housing Partnership Committee, Marcus Atwood Trustees, Old Colony Regional Vote Tech School Committee, and Town Building Study Committee. The list is growing longer. We need those volunteers. Also, please contact the Selectmen's office for an application. Get a hold of one of the ladies in the office, and they'll be happy to help you out with that. Additionally, donations to the food pantry can be made at the Council on Aging or the Public Library. As I've been want to say at every meeting, there's still a need out there. It's not going away. So please be as generous as you can. Okay. First item is Carver Gas and Convenience hearing continued. Yes, ma'am. Would you please take a seat and tell us your name and where you're from?
Okay. My name is Esla Ahmed.
Can you speak into the microphone there, because that's the only way the people at home can hear you.
My name is Esla Ahmed. I'm here for Carver Gas and Convenience Store, Inc.
Yes, ma'am.
And we petitioned for a used car sale license for 5 cars, and it was approved, I think.
For a license to buy, sell, and exchange or assemble second-hand motor vehicles or parts thereof.
Yeah, not assemble, sell. Like buy and sell.
We originally had tabled this
Yeah.
Right.
and sent it to the zoning board, and
That's
I think
right.
the zoning board has approved it.
That's what's
Right.
on,
There's an attachment to it, the Carver
right
zoning
here,
board,
Jack.
right?
Yeah.
It's on the
Yeah.
back, it says decision.
There was a zoning board about a shed, and they said it's okay, so that's what we got from them, that we do not need it to get the
And
permit
we
for
got an
that.
addendum on that.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay, so the decision was that it was voted unanimously to approve the application for a special permit, subject to the following: that no more than 5 cars can be offered for sale at one time. Parking of 1 car can be located on the south side of the existing building, and the other 4 shall be parked in the rear of the property. There will be no repair work done on site. There will be no additional lighting installed at the site. Any requested signage shall be permitted by the planning board. In the event that the small shed located on site requires a building permit, the petitioner shall seek same. I did see Joe Mix out there. Joe, you're in a butter to this, right? There's no issues by anybody? Okay. All right, thank you. Okay, that seems pretty clear, cut and dry.
Can I say something, Mike?
Yes, Jack, go ahead.
In the zoning board, they have their findings, and it says, "The board found that the requested change or extension of the non-conforming use is not substantially more detrimental than the existing non-conforming use in the neighborhood. The board found that the benefits of the proposed use outweigh its detrimental impacts on the town and the neighborhood in view of the particular characteristics of the site and of the proposed relation to the site. Relief may be granted without substantial detriment to the public good and without nullifying or substantially derogating from the intent or purpose of the bylaw." I think that's important to read into the record, because that was part of our concerns.
Okay, thank you for bringing that up, Jack. Does anybody else?
I'll
Jack,
make, well,
you want to make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion that we grant that license.
Okay,
I'd like to second that.
we have a motion and a second. Further discussion?
We
Questions,
dis-
comments?
We had quite a few people here, and it seemed like the majority supported it. And so, I'm good.
I think there was a lot of people here, and they brought up a lot of issues that are going down there that really are the fault of the town, not really the fault of the person that's operating the business there. So it'd be wise for us to start to look into the traffic flow
Right,
and everything
traffic
else that's going
control.
on down there, but it would be, I think it would be kind of unjust for us to deny this permit,
Oh, that's definitely a high-traffic area.
yeah.
I mean, it's a cut through to Plymouth, so,
I went down and looked at the site.
Yeah.
And, you know, the garage and stuff is right on the street, but
yep,
where they wanna put the cars, seems to be plenty of room out back, and the
right,
zoning board seemed to
yep.
agree with that.
So, I think you got a good visible location there, so,
Thank you.
Yep.
Yeah, we hope so.
yeah. Any other questions or comments, members of the board? We have a motion and a second. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous, Michelle. Congratulations there.
Thank
Good
you so-
luck, okay?
Thank you so much.
You're
Have a
welcome.
good night.
Thank you. Okay, next up is disposal of trees in town.
Mr. Chairman and members of the board, I believe last year, there was a firewood program that was run by the town, and there was actually bids that were done, where people actually bid on the actual work that needed to be, the dead trees that needed to be removed as approved by the conservation agent. One of the things that we're looking to do this year is to modify that so that we just have a flat fee of $25 per cord.
That was a fat, flat fee?
A fat fee. It's a fat cord of wood. It's a fat
I like
cord
the
of wood.
fat fee.
And then for additional cords, it'd be $15, and again, these would have to be harvested by the individual. We've also added a claim of release to indemnify and hold harmless the town,
Okay.
so that if someone goes on there and injures themselves while they're removing trees, dead wood, that's their responsibility, not ours. So that's a quick summary, and Sarah, if I could ask you to just fill in the detail on that, just for the public to use this as an education piece, that'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, the Conservation Department's had a home firewood program for, this is maybe going on the third year. And I will, as conservation agent, be preparing what we're calling informational packets. I'm gonna have to go out and flag the trees, because, you know, we just want the dead ones cut down and not the good ones. It's gonna, the location is going to be at Savory Avenue, but not on the conservation side of the land. It's going to be on the street side, which also belongs to conservation. It's a small strip of land running between Route 58 and the avenue. And so we're targeting April 15th as the day when people can come pick up the packages. We'll have a map. We'll be showing, you know, approximately this number of trees equals a cord, so they will be getting their permits that way. And hopefully it'll be successful. We've had a few people bidding in the past, so helps them, helps us.
And
But-
this is a hazard right now for the town, so.
It is, and it probably would take, I mean, the DPW has the whole town to do, and just that one strip would take a really long time, so we're helping them out as well.
Mhm.
And where will the fees go?
Just to the general fund.
General fund.
Didn't we do this with the coal property too?
We did. We had a bunch of downed trees, and I marked them, made a map of them, and people came and bid on it. We had maybe three or four people bid
Right,
on that
right.
one.
Are we gonna do that again? Are we gonna lump this all together, or just that one parcel?
I think well, we can do these anytime, but we thought we'd do the Savory Avenue one first, since it's a lot of damage, a lot of people walk there. On the coal property, the trees that are down are more sort of in the woods.
Mhm.
So, but yeah, that can happen as well.
And this program is focused for the residents, those that
Mhm.
want to cut their own wood. We're giving them the opportunity of doing it. It's helping out the town. And it's not really focused for commercial use.
Right, exactly.
Excellent. Do you need a vote on this from us, Mike?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so.
Very good. How about an Edaville update next?
Just real briefly on that, and Jack Hunter's here. The planning director, Jack Hunter, and Edaville Railroad they're having quarterly meetings with the abutting neighbors, just to go over any issues. And Jack, you got 30 seconds to just give a quick overview on that?
Wow. Yes, I think most of you had gone to the meetings we had in the parking lot with the neighbors and the owners of Edaville. The neighbors designated 4 representatives to represent their interests. We had a couple meetings in the fall and winter. And then we just had one last week, just trying to deal with issues, concerns, trying to get the rumors out of the way and the facts. We plan on having actually one, well, now it'd be in 5 weeks, because Edaville's redoing their master plan. And Brenda felt it will be ready by then, and then we can discuss kind of how they're altering some of the stuff they want. And also the timing. The neighbors want to know the timing. When's something going to happen? When are you going to put a structure up so I know in advance and I don't have to call a million people about what it is and where it is?
Right.
A lot of personalities to deal with. It's not easy. It's not easy.
Has it been going okay?
Okay, yes. I'll use the word okay, yes. We're getting through it.
It's more neutral.
Yeah, it's, you know, it's not, you have residents
Sure.
next to an amusement park, you
Right.
know, it's gonna be a difficult issue.
But the key thing is that everyone's communicating, meetings have been set up, and they can collaboratively air their issues and hopefully try to work them out.
That's right.
And they're starting to come more to a conciliatory or a compromise type of meetings?
It's okay.
Okay.
You know, it's just difficult. You know, there's some
I know it
strong
is.
personalities
I know.
there. But, you know, it's information.
Right.
It's sharing information, I think, is what the biggest concern is, and the timing. It's funny how the residents really want to know when things are going to happen. They don't want surprises. And I think we have to be a little better at that. So we set some goals. I could share, I think I shared it with Michael, some goals and timelines that we're going to get confirmation on, and hopefully in 5 weeks we can discuss those.
Great, thank you. Any other questions from the board?
Don't leave yet, Jack.
Any other questions from the board?
30 seconds.
Well, that was for that was that topic.
Yeah. All right, moving on, Mike.
Mr. Chairman, the next topic is Ontario Solar Project, and while Jack's here, I'm gonna have him just, give a quick overview of that. But in a nutshell, where we are is the project has allocations of 1.2 megawatts from Carver to provide energy to Carver. That was approved back in December 27th of 2011. The project has not moved forward. What we are requesting here in your packet is a notice of default that will be going to Intero, and it basically gives them a notice of demand that they have 60 or up to 180 days to cure their default. So it's a two-step process, and this has been crafted by the attorneys. And it's something that again, given the delay that's been happening, and not really blaming anybody, but there has been a delay, that we as a town just need to make sure we're protecting our ability to redistribute those 1.2 megawatts if we so choose to. Jack, want to fill in the blanks?
I think you hit it right on the head. You know, we've been very transparent with the owner and the property owner. It may be cured. I know Michael and I are hopefully gonna have a meeting with the Intero next week. They're gonna be in town at their request. And possibly this can get cured, I'm not sure. I think I know their message is NSTAR. NSTAR has been cost prohibitive to them. But we gotta, and my advice to Michael, and through Michael, is we gotta move on.
Sure.
You know, we
Yeah.
can't just
Can't keep
sit
our
on it.
hands tied forever on this.
Right,
yeah.
that's right.
Now,
It's not a bad relation, it's a
No.
great relationship, it's just
Which project is that?
it's the one on the Paddock
Oh, right there, okay.
If I may,
Go ahead.
Jack, so Antero is aware of this notice of default?
Yes, yes. Absolutely.
And is the property owner too?
Oh, I'm sorry.
I believe so. Michael had a meeting with him today. I wasn't there, so I have to assume that.
So Michael, is Mike Paddock aware of this?
He is aware, yes. And he's aware it's a two-step process. This is the initial notice, they have time to cure. It's up to Intero to cure.
And I will say, Antero's kind of thinking a little out of the box now. They're thinking maybe they can sell the electricity somewhere else. He's fully permitted. He can, as long as he can hook up to NSTAR.
Yeah, and that's a key point, is that alls we're talking about is the town's allocation.
That's right.
He still has the full permit to sell that energy in the private market. So we're not trying to stop the project, we're encouraging the project. It's actually a good use of the space for that property owner. But we're looking at our tie-in for this 1.2 megawatts, and we just want to have the flexibility of looking at other options down the road. So I would need the board to authorize town council to send this letter on our behalf.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, multiple seconds.
Yeah, I hope,
Any further comment, question?
Michelle, did you get an opportunity to write that motion down? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Any further comments, questions by members of the board?
Oh, yeah, those are extra copies if people have those.
Hearing none, all those in favor, please say aye.
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 Opposed? It's unanimous, Michelle. So one more
Did
copy.
you get one?
I'll get one.
There we go.
Hold it up.
Everybody's made whole there. Okay. Moving on, financial update on revenue and fixed costs for FY15.
Okay, a couple things. I want to start with healthcare. And the town has funded a healthcare analysis, and Longfellow Associates is conducting that analysis that was funded through the Finance Committee. The Finance Chairman and I have had the opportunity, along with the school business manager, to review their first draft. And in that first draft, it shows that there are opportunities for savings. We've asked them to refine some numbers and to look at some different alternatives, which they're in the process of doing, and we're hoping to have this report released in the next few weeks. Those options for cost sharing aren't something that's going to happen most likely, and there's probably a 99% chance are not going to happen for 2015. What we're really looking at is 2016. With that, what I learned in the process, and I think this is important for the record, is that when the town broke away from Plymouth County Healthcare back in 2004, costs were going out of control. And for a good 8 years or so, our Gateway program has saved the town a few $1 million over that time frame. After Carver and some other towns broke away, Plymouth County Healthcare went and saw how well Gateway was doing, and then formed its own limited purchase group, and which is now Mayflower Group. And Mayflower, if you will, learnt from Carver leaving and the success Carver had with Gateway and the money that was being saved by Rick and my predecessor and others, and then tried to repeat that. And they have repeated that, and they're actually doing well now. So we're looking at a cost comparison of what a Mayflower plan cost, what a GIC plan cost, as well as several other alternatives in the market. And again, what it shows is for those first 8 years, Gateway has done very well. And now we're looking at a 2-year trend, and we're saying, okay, it's time to look at other options. And again, that's the point that I want to make is the first 8 years that we've made that transition have saved the town millions of dollars. Now we're at a point where we need to relook at how we move forward for the next 10 years. And this program's going to help us look at that. So I think, and I know Pat Mahar shares my comments and feelings on what the new data shows. And you'll see that when we release the information that, you know, and you need to see trends. It's not like you have one good year and you're like, wow, we got to jump ship. You know, you have to look at trends, and now we have a 2-year plus trend. And it's time to look at other alternatives.
How big is the report?
How big is the report?
Is
It
it like the
was
audit
about 3/4 of an inch thick with the slides that I reviewed.
100 pages?
It was, I think, 120 pages, if I'm not mistaken.
A lot of
So they did a lot of analysis, a lot of slides, and and from what I can see, it's a very well-balanced report, which is a good tool for us to move forward for 2016. The next item that we need to take a look at, and again, we're dealing with revenue for our FY15 budget. I'm going to go over the numbers that I've mentioned before. We're looking at about $500,000 in levy growth at 2.5%, $70,000 in new growth for real estate. A month ago, I was projecting $65,000. Now the assessor's up at the $70,000, and our net state aid is $50,000. So we're looking at $620,000 total, community-wide, for new revenue coming into the town. We've kept local receipts zero because we're not projecting any increase this year, but I will say that local receipts is something that I would highly recommend the board to take a look at. Local receipts primarily deal with permits and user fees. The taxpayers, when they pay their taxes, they're expecting a base level of service, that everyone in the community is treated equally. But when someone comes in for a development or a building permit or a planning permit, they're asking more services than the rest of the town, and those additional services are necessary to have a fee associated with those services. So some may look at this as an additional tax. It's really a user fee based upon the additional services above and beyond what the average taxpayer is using. And some of our fees have not been looked at in a long time, and it's something we need to take a look at. Now, that's the revenue piece. I've mentioned before that we still have the North Carver Water District issue to deal with. We've got, a $174,000 plus impact from from Plymouth County retirement, close to a $200,000 impact in new healthcare costs, as that goes up by 5%. The Old Colony Votech is going up $83,000, and as you can see, that $620,000 begins to disappear real quick. The net of this is that there's no new money in Carver to fund the operating budgets. That being said, looking at big numbers, the department budgets that were prepared before I arrived, and I've met with every department on their budget, show on the town side that with maintaining step raises, some additional services, and again, this is the request from departments, is $600,000 in new money. On the school side, it's $900,000 in new money. What that means is that on the town side, that $600,000 does include a $200,000 in the police budget for 2 positions, and it also includes $100,000 for additional capital lease items that were funded last year that now come out of the operating budget. On the school side, the big drivers for the $900,000 are special ed, contractual salary increases and steps, and also retirement and healthcare issues, just like on the town side. So that's kind of what we're looking at right now. The priority the board has given is to work on funding the police positions to support attacking some of this substance abuse issue in town, and we're going to be adjusting the budgets accordingly. I have had the department head meetings, and they're aware that our budget has a structural deficit. It's a stressed budget. I have spoken to everyone, and we're really down to 3 options at this point. Is that in order to meet those numbers, and again, I will be cutting this $600,000, so this is what the request is. It will be cut down, but there is still going to be some money that we don't have in the budget to fund. Is we're going to have to be looking at layoffs in some areas. We're going to have to be looking at reduction in hours, and also looking at the possibility of reorganizing some departments. Because in essence, where we're at today is a pay-go system. Whatever these services are, because of priority shift we want to pay for, we have to cut something. So, just make sure everyone's aware that it's gonna be a tough budget season. Speaking of consolidation or reorganization of departments, the superintendent and I have been following item number 6 on the financial management policies. And we're actively looking at some consolidation of departments that have duplications of services that we believe could be a joint community-wide department that would be jointly managed by the superintendent and the town administrator. So we are pursuing those items. So that process is working out well, and we've brought in a consultant to help analyze that, who's managed departments like we're envisioning right now. So that's moving forward as well. Let's see. I think that's all I have on the budget items at this week. I am hoping at our next meeting to submit a balanced budget, both revenue and expense projections, and also for the departments, as well as some conceptual reorganization plans as well. Following that, we would then need to schedule some joint meetings with the Finance Committee and also the Board of Selectmen. My suggestion is that they would be, a week or two, at least a couple weeks after that presentation on the 25th. So we can set those meetings on the 25th, but knowing we need to schedule those in the month of April. Any questions on all that good news?
Members of the board?
I had already sat with Mike, what he just talked about, so I don't have any more questions.
I'll come in and talk to Mike.
Right. All right, then we'll move on. Inspection rates is the next item, and
Make a motion, we table.
there's a motion to table
Second.
and a second. Any further comments, questions, concerns?
Nope.
Okay, hearing none, all those in favor of tabling that, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Thank you. Committee appointments.
I'm going to pass around, this is front and back page. I'm still about 95% done on the school building committee and also the fire building committee. Hopefully we'll get those wrapped up in the next week. But in front of you, what I've done is formed the governance committee and the OPED committee. One of the things that I've been trying to do with all of these committees, and I will tell you this has taken a lot of time, given the political nature of the community right now, I wanted to spend an extra effort and make sure that these committees were jointly represented by, if you will, both sides of the community, and also as many people in the middle of those sides as possible, however you define those. And it's been a challenge trying to figure out who's who and where's where, and and how they all get together. So for the governance committee, when we set this up, we had five members. 3 of the members were assigned by the committee. Dick Ward has agreed to do this for the Board of Selectmen, John Cotter for the Finance Committee, Jack Angley for the Capital Outlay Committee. For the community with organizational operational experience, Stephen Gray and Jim Grimes have agreed to do this on that side. This committee I see is having a 2-phase process. This first group of people will hopefully work through, 6 or 8 items that everyone knows needs to be changed in the town now, and can make sure that those items are fully vetted in public meetings before town meeting, and put the appropriate articles on the town meeting floor to modify some organizational changes that need to happen in town meeting. After town meeting, I see either these members or an additional group of members coming in and really taking a more holistic, long-term view of our bylaws and almost like a charter committee, but I don't want to call it a charter committee, but to look at things to that level where they're going to need 4 to 6 months to go through everything. Some of our bylaws were written before the age of computers, and a municipality should relook at its organizational structure, you know, every 5, but no later than 10 years, and it's been a while, and, you know, this is something that needs to be done.
Before computers, huh?
Some of them, yes. And you also find, too, in the bylaws that they conflict with certain other sections in the bylaws or certain other laws that the town has passed, and those are the things that need to be resolved. So again, I see that in a two-phase piece. The second committee is the OPED Study Committee. As mentioned, we have a $47 million liability in Carver. You know, what's that, 1.5 times our annual budget? That's a big number, given the benefit structure that we have in town. So with this, the 5 members are the treasurer collector, member from the finance committee, which is Joe Patton, and then 3 members from the community with municipal finance and or health insurance experience, and that's Bruce Kaiser, Steve Pratt, and Paul Johnson. And, you know, this is a bigger issue, and as part of our policies, we need to get on top of this and start to develop a plan. This is going to be a very technical committee that's going to be producing a lot of financial analysis and working through different programs. And, you know, we need them to come back with recommendations as to how the town can start to handle and get a hold of its $47 million liability. So those are 2 of the committees that hopefully we can get a meeting with each one of those next week and have them get started.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Any
Any
questions on those?
Questions? Hearing none.
No, Michael warned me.
He warned you.
Um,
All right.
I just have 2 more quick things, Mr. Chairman. One is that the Collins Center report has received input from the superintendent, MSBA, and myself, as well as, I think, Dan Ryan. So the Collins Center's in their final draft of the document, and that should be ready in a few weeks. Also this morning, State Representative Gifford came to Carver to meet with me, and we talked about 3 priorities for the town. One is the heroin substance abuse issue, which is an issue on the whole South Shore. It's something that she's actively working on, as well with some of her counterparts in the budding towns. The second is on some of the unfunded mandates from the state that are impacting our budgets and, more importantly, the school's budget. And then finally, the Route 58 project for us to lobby to get the Purchase Street intersection back into the project. And so those are the 3 asks that I have of her, and it was a very productive meeting.
Have you had a chance to talk to Senator Mark Pacheco yet?
I have not. That's next on my list.
Okay. Good guy. He's been a staunch supporter of the town of Carver for a long time now, so.
Yeah, he fought for our solar project.
Yep.
He
Any
also-
questions?
He also got us a lot of state aid during that Ed Reform Act in '93.
Yeah.
We really benefited big time, and it was through his efforts that we got that.
Okay.
Very good.
That's all I have.
Moving on.
We might make it on time
Not too
tonight.
bad. Board of Selectmen comment period. Anybody care to kick it off?
I haven't written anything down.
I will,
Go ahead, Helen.
because mine is kind of like a dovetailing off of what Michael's been talking about tonight. Although this has been a sensitive topic, you know, with some information that I have received, I just wanted to put this back on the table to my fellow selectmen and hope that we can consider a discussion on our current town council. The reason I'm bringing this to everyone's attention is I read an article in a paper that K&P has been fired from the town of Whitman-Hanson. And I would like to be able to bring K&P
Sure.
in to discuss this, because I don't wanna hear it just from a newspaper article, but I'd like to learn more information. According to the article in the paper, some of the decisions that they've made regarding, Whitman Hanson has cost the town $849,000 and some change. And I think it's only fair that Copeland and Page should be able to come in and discuss it. And in the same light, with this, my initial concerns about talking about K&P over the past few years since I've been elected is not that K&P has done bad by our town, although some will say that they've made some conflicting decisions over the past few years that some may challenge has cost us money. So,
Helen, can I make a point of order?
yes.
Can we, I mean, this is a surprise to me, okay? So I'm just
Well,
wondering how
what I was
deep
gonna-
you're gonna
No,
discuss
no,
it.
I'm not gonna go deep. What I would like to do is put it on the agenda, and that's why I'm saying I wanted to talk with all of you and see if you would just be willing to allow it to be put on the agenda, because I took that very seriously, and, again, because I have brought it up before, that I just thought it was important to have change in this town, and as you can see by what we've done over the past few years, what Michael is doing, most of it's turning out for the good. And I just think it may be time that we all come to an agreement that maybe we should put this back on the agenda.
So you wanna put it on the agenda to invite Copman and Page in to
Well,
explain?
it would be a two-stage process. One,
Okay.
I think, that they should have the right, and we should have them discuss that article, because I'm sure a lot of people may have seen it, because it has been written in the paper. And to be able to give them opportunity to be able to explain what has truly happened over there. And then second, to be able to put it on a subsequent agenda about town council and maybe considering again, interviewing and reassessing and with K&P included in that assessment for a possible, change in town council.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, if I could, I'd like to suggest a three-step process
Okay?
to this. The newspapers are not always the best factual documents, and I
Exactly.
think we all know that. That being said, maybe the first step is because these municipal firms, law firms, are jockeying back and forth between different towns, and when one goes, there usually is a big issue, or they make a big issue just to get the press out of it to justify why they got rid of them. And what I would suggest is, why don't we first ask K&P to respond to your concern in writing? Let's get their written response. You guys take a look at that, deliberate over that. If you feel the written response is adequate, then fine. If you think you need more information, then call them in for a meeting. Then at that meeting, and after that meeting, then have another session where you deliberate on whether or not you were satisfied with their second response, and then determine, whether or not you want to move forward in a different direction. But I would certainly want to make sure that they or anyone, has the opportunity to respond to any type of press inquiries that happened that's there.
You
I
know,
agree.
I read the article too, and I suppose we should tread lightly, because I believe in that article it also said that 2 members of the Board of Selectmen were being recalled.
But this is, the whole point is that we need to allow K&P to be able to give the facts about
Well,
what has
that's
been
it,
happening.
yeah.
That was the bottom line, I think I prefaced it with that. But I also wanna dovetail off of that, is that I still think it's time that maybe possibly that we talk again about at least putting on the table town council and whether it's time for a change. And that would be the third step process. So that's all. Again, yeah, no, I didn't wanna get into the nitty-gritties tonight, but I think it's fair to K&P that this is out there, it was in the paper, and it should be addressed.
Well, as it's been suggested to us in the past, that it's not a bad thing to look at these firms and these companies that we do business with on maybe a triannual basis or something of that nature, to see if our goals are still aligned, or if there's a better way of getting the job done and stuff. So I think that's just a natural progression. But I like Mr. Malinowski's suggestion that have them respond to the article,
In
because,
writing first.
again, sometimes the media doesn't have all the nuts and bolts of what's going on. Those, in fact, were different attorneys than the attorneys that we use for our town, too, so.
That was
By the way, the
public.
selectmen were being recalled because of the school issue. The
I
real
just wanted to throw that out there.
faux pas on the
But
school.
it was a unanimous decision on the part of the Board of
Yeah.
Selectmen.
So,
to replace
So I'll
town
take that as a
council.
direction, to reach out to K and P and get
Please.
something in writing, and
Yep.
then we'll see where
And then
that
we'll
goes, step
follow
by
it
step.
from there.
I think you're both right, but the third step, I think, is critical on that, too, so. Okay,
And
Ellen?
that's it. Just, more prayers out to, unfortunately, another family who has lost a loved one to heroin this past weekend. So, I think most of the town knows now that the town is actively working with the community to begin just discussing it. We're just one piece of the pie, as I had mentioned at other meetings. There's a lot, to do in terms of solving a heroin epidemic problem. It's not just the town, but it's really nice to see that the whole community is coming together. Unfortunate circumstances, but God bless that family. That's all I want to say.
Was the family from Carver?
I believe it was Plymouth, but it was in Carver that it happened,
Right.
if I'm not
the
mistaken.
victim was from Wareham.
That's right, but it happened in Carver.
It really doesn't matter where they're from.
doesn't.
You know,
No.
it happened in Carver.
Another
But
young girl. And I
Suffice it
believe-
to say, the numbers are extraordinary for the South Shore. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Well, I think I've said before, my daughter works in a detox center, and it's just phenomenal what's happening.
And my
Absolutely
understanding is she
phenomenal.
has a 2-year-old little girl. It's sad. It makes me want to cry.
Ellen, anything else?
No, that's it.
Dick, you want me to bounce over to the other side of the table?
I'll just mention that, I mean, the effort by the school on the community and the dealing with the drug issue on the many levels that you have to deal, law enforcement, social, education, helping parents, this is where we gotta really put a lot of effort in, and I thoroughly agree. I'm very sad to hear that we had another episode. And I know there are a lot of folks that are like myself that have dealt with that, like Jack, and folks in here that have had family members. So we're all kinda in it.
But you know, the heroin's particularly dangerous because once they're hooked on it, the great majority of them will never survive. And it's just a burden on the family and what they have to go through. It's worse than cancer.
Yeah, it's the survivors that go through all the
And
pain
there's-
and the
and
agony.
there's a
so.
stigmatism attached to
Yep.
it, and that's what we have to remember is
Yep.
a lot of parents are going through a lot of heartache, and we have to, you know, not stigmatize them. We have to admire them for what they're going through.
I'm good.
Dick, you good? Sarah?
I concur with both Dick and Helen, but now I'm going to change the subject. It's going to sound really frivolous after all that. But I just received from the building commissioner today an announcement about a workshop for the building trades and for building officials. And it doesn't say other people can't come, so I'm going to just say what it is. The Stretch Code and Green Communities Workshop for the building trades and building officials, Thursday, March 20th, 7 p.m., Halifax Town Hall. And it's just a workshop to find out the differences between the current and future building codes versus this horrible stretch code that we've all heard so much about, and the Green Communities Program and how the changes might affect your business if you are a builder. So I just thought I'd get that out there.
And this is March 20th at
March
Halifax Town
Thursday, March
Hall.
20th, 7 p.m.,
7
Halifax Town Hall. Mhm.
Thank you.
Sure.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Nope. No. Jack?
For once, I don't have anything to offer.
Good. We'll move this along. I have an announcement here from CCA TV. They just wanted to make the community aware that their annual candidates debates will be held on Thursday, March 27th, beginning at 7 p.m. These debates will be cablecast live on Channel 15 and will air repeatedly up to and including Election Day. All candidates in opposed races should be on the lookout for correspondences from CCAT regarding details of the debates as well as their Know the Candidate and Carver and Focus programs. Okay, so once again, Thursday, March 27th, beginning at 7 p.m. Those will be live.
Mr. Chairman, two things. One, with the mobilizing the community group that's been meeting over at the high school.
Right.
Who have garnered about 100 people in the last two visits. They did schedule their next meeting for March 25th. I did talk to the principal about that, and it was just a scheduling snafu. He says, do you want me to cancel? I said, well, no, because you need to go forward with that, because a lot of people don't have notice that it's gonna be changed.
Right.
So I just wanna make sure everyone's aware of that that is a scheduling conflict, where I know many of you have gone to that.
So you might not have a Board of Selectmen's meeting. We all
Can
go
we
to
change
it.
our meeting
Yeah, we could.
to do just 2 Tuesdays in a row?
I'm a discussion group lead,
Yeah.
participant over there, but
Oh.
maybe I should try to make that.
Well, I'm thinking we have our Board of Selectmen's meeting 2 Tuesdays in a row, and then, so we can
So have the meeting.
continue to attend those meetings.
Well, what about
That'd be
like a
April.
Monday night or a
Or what-
Wednesday night of that week? Would a Monday night be a bad night? To move it to
Yeah,
Monday night?
Or we could do it the following Tuesday, which would be April 2nd? Hopefully
We
it's
got
not
a
April
couple of
1st.
things we need a little time on.
Yep.
So if we moved it up a week from now,
Mm-hmm.
you wouldn't be able to get any response on that.
Nope.
So if you moved it to
April
a
2nd.
different day, that, well,
April 2nd?
April 7th, all right,
2nd, I think.
2nd?
Yeah.
It's up to you. I don't have a problem.
Well-
I make the motion if,
I'll second it.
make a motion, we have it on April
April
2nd.
2nd.
Our regular meetings, move it up a week.
That'd be great.
So that we can participate in the school functioning program
Yeah.
for the
Yeah, I think
community.
it's
on-
important.
Actually, that would be April 1st, April Fool's Day. That might be appropriate.
Yeah.
We'll make sure we bring plenty of comedy.
Bring your jokes.
Okay, so it's April 1st is going to be our,
Next meeting.
thank you.
I think that's a
Glad
good
that worked
idea. That's an
out, yeah.
important group, and many of you have been participating,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
that makes sense, okay. So we will cancel the 25th meeting and move to April 1st. Also, what I passed out is kind of the highlights from the facilitation meeting that we had last Thursday with Jeff Nutting, which from my account seemed to be a success. I know Dick and Helen, they were talking most of the evening, which I thought was good.
We always do.
Both sides of the equation.
Yeah, so what this document is kind of just a summary of some of what Jeff was talking about. And then it highlights what the three most important jobs are of the Board of Selectmen. It kind of extrapolated out the top 5 goals based upon your conversations of what you're looking for and over the next year, and then the 5 goals for the board to accomplish over the next 3 to 5 years. And I can read through these, Mr. Chairman, if you want, or,
You know, what we ought to do is probably post a copy of this
okay.
somewhere so that citizens have access to it and they can read that.
Right. And my suggestion would be for the board to take a look at this, compare it to what you believe the goals and objectives should be based upon the meeting we had last week, and then to put this on the next agenda to ratify a document similar to this with whatever suggestions you may have to it. So if I can get suggestions or recommended changes back in the next week or two on this, you know, I think what we learned is this is an important document that kind of guides not only the board, but also all of the staff in implementing what the objectives are of the town. And it allows us to keep focused, and it also is very helpful for the budget process as well.
Excellent.
But, you know, I think in what we had put in your contract was to hire a facilitator to help us set a standard or a bar from which to evaluate your performance at the end of the year. So I think we need to put something like that together and put it in place, because it's been 2 months since we hired you, and we still don't have anything. You know, we never had anything like that before, and I thought it was a good idea. I mean, the workshop was good. It's great for setting goals for the Board of Selectmen and the town, but we really need to put something down to be able to evaluate you, because you should be evaluated every year. And that was in the DOR report. You know, we had a town administrator for 16 or 17 years, and we might have had one evaluation. Now, and going forward, I think we need to evaluate your performance every year.
Mhm.
And I don't know, Helen and Dick, you served on the committee. You know, I don't know if you agree with that, but that's what was,
Oh, no,
that's what we
absolutely.
discussed when we did the negotiations.
We
And
talked about it
I
during
think
the
we need to come up with
negotiations.
something that we can set the standard for.
So
I mean, I think you're doing a great job, but we need to,
you're talking about some kind of a format that we would follow.
yeah, something which we can base an evaluation on.
Hmm.
And I don't know if there's any examples out there for other communities or even from your own community
There are.
we could
Well,
use.
There are, and I
Maybe
think
it's
this
based-
middle section here on the 5 goals the Board of Selectmen to accomplish over the next year, you know, that would be what the annual objective would be.
Exactly.
And then you've got the 3 to 5 to know what the long-range plans
Right.
are. And you work on the 5, you know, in the middle here.
Get your tactical and strategic plan, and, you know, his goals are our goals, so.
That's right.
I know that, but what I'm saying is this workshop, this is what came out of it, but really, in hiring a facilitator, we were getting him to
Go right
run
there.
that workshop so that we could develop these standards from which to evaluate someone, because we didn't have any standards
Okay.
before.
Right.
Now we have something.
All right, well,
Do you
submit the
agree with that, Dick?
recommendations that you have, Jack, and we'll incorporate those into the motion, and,
I wanted all of us to
well,
put something together.
everybody's supposed to, yeah.
Well, you know, let me just throw this out. Maybe a suggestion would be is to put together a subcommittee over the next couple weeks to modify this document and come back with a recommendation of the subcommittee on this document, and also, and this document can feed into what Jack's saying, but this becomes the guiding document. And maybe that's a better way of doing it versus just sending us your comments.
Why don't we form the subcommittee now? Are we allowed to do that, or we be violating the open meeting law?
You'd have to post a meeting,
Yeah.
but the 3 of you can do it again.
I want to get something in
We have to
place.
put it on the agenda to be able to form the subcommittee, is that what you're, that's
No.
what you're
I
saying?
want to
right?
get something in place so we can, because it's already been 2 months.
Yeah.
I
No,
don't
no,
want to
you
go
can,
by
you can
3
form the
months.
subcommittee tonight.
Of our own
the work.
committee.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, subcommittee of your own committee, to flush this out.
Yep.
Yep.
That's all we're doing, and then you'll come back with a recommendation at the next meeting. This is what the subcommittee recommends, and then figure out if the whole board wants to adopt it. And then this becomes part of my contract, as to what my objectives
That's what
are.
I mean, yeah.
Jack, Helen, and Dick. 2 steps forward.
oh, because you two can't.
Yeah.
Well, it's just the 3.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's 3 of you, that's all you need.
That's right.
Yeah.
Sarah can't either.
So,
It's the 3 of you,
We
right, but
which is good.
wouldn't 2 be a majority?
2 would be a majority, yeah. So
Yeah.
if you come to any impasses, then you
We
take a
work
vote.
pretty well, the 3 of
Yeah.
us,
So we
Yeah.
in
we
negotiating
did
the
it
contract.
on
Yeah.
the contract.
Right, exactly. So the 3 of us can do it.
Yeah,
We just have to post a meeting when we did it.
That's what we should do,
Yeah.
yeah.
the 3 of us.
My wife sees me joining all these committees, boy.
I'm telling you, you're having stomach pains right after dinner, the insurance policy's going up, you know, never home.
All right, so we've resolved that.
Uh,
We need to take a vote on establishing that subcommittee, or we just
I'll make
need
a
to
motion,
nominate the individuals?
I'll make a motion to form,
Are we allowed to?
No, we just, I
Yeah.
tell you what, we
Yeah.
just gonna
Just
work
informally,
on it
yeah.
together.
yeah, we can just work on it, do we
Right.
need
Just-
to?
And because
Forewarning
we're
you.
more than a majority,
Yeah.
you'll have to post the meeting.
All right,
Yeah.
good enough.
There you go. Exactly, just like we did with,
Next up, set the date for the annual town meeting and special town meeting, potentially Monday, June 2nd, or Tuesday, June 3rd.
We're trying to balance some of the programs that are focused over the schools, and we're looking at the first 2 weeks in June, and this is more or less what the dates fall down to. You can start on Monday, you can start on Tuesday,
And it's been
Generally,
clear
we-
with the school, they have a clear calendar on both those days?
both those days,
Okay.
that's correct.
You should have it on the Monday, because that's what we usually do.
Right, in
Because
case
if
it
we
carries
need
over,
to
right.
carry it over,
Yeah.
we could go.
Pick
to
it up
go
on
Tuesday.
Tuesday. So Monday, June 2nd sounds good? Somebody want to make a motion
So
on that?
moved.
Motion, so moved. Second,
Second, whatever.
All right, we have a motion
get that,
by
Michelle?
Dick, we have a second by Jack. Any further comment, questions, concerns?
the
recommendations?
possible carryover day of June 3rd.
Carryover day of, June 3rd, yep. Can you include that in the motion too, Michelle?
Yep.
Thank you. All right, we have a motion and a second. No further comments, questions, concerns? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Town meeting will be on Monday, June 2nd, and if necessary, will be carried over into Tuesday, June 3rd.
And all warrant articles were due today.
Chapter 61A, first right of refusal, 85 Center Street.
Good evening. I guess Michelle asked me to be here. I chair the 61A committee that we have that consists of the conservation agent, the head assessor, and the building commissioner. And so every time we get a right of first refusal, we meet and discuss it and make a recommendation to you guys. I will say, we didn't actually meet on this one because it was such a no-brainer that we kind of exchanged emails. It's a landlocked piece of property, which is actually gonna be joined by an abutter's property, and a house will be built. He did receive a variance. The neighbors love the fact that he's gonna be able to build this house in a property that's been a detriment to the whole neighborhood for a very long time. So, we're recommending that you do not act on the right of first refusal.
I'm still trying to figure out, I'm looking at the Center Street, and I'm trying to picture where it is.
85 Center Street was a house that just got demolished. I'm sure the chairman
Okay.
knows it all too well, unfortunately.
Yep.
A lot of problems there. They did come, and Counselor was here for 80 Makepeace. Jamie Emerson bought the property, demolished the house, put up a new house.
Okay.
They were actually sending him gift certificates, the brothers, because they were so happy. He also wanted to build a second house because it's a fairly large lot, but he lacked the sufficient area for a rear lot. So he made, obviously, an arrangement with Makepeace to get that extra area, but because it's after 1998, he needed to get a variance, which he has now received. Is that about correct?
You've said it all, Jack. For the record, my name is Rich Cirque, and I'm actually here in behalf of Jamie Emerson.
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
He entered into an agreement with Cranbrook Cranberry LLC, an affiliate of the Makepeace Company, to acquire land which I've hatched on two different plans in order to acquire the area needed in order to build his second house. The second sheet that I gave you was the configuration of the lot as originally envisioned before it was finally surveyed. That original schematic showed 45,000 square feet. Now that the variance was granted by the zoning board, the land was finally surveyed, and the area of the land to be sold to Emerson is somewhat larger. It's 54,027 square feet, and that's what's depicted on the final Chapter 61A parcel plan, the first of the two sheets that I gave to you. Because of the changed configuration, I just gave the town administrator a modified notice changing the area from 45,000 to 54,027, and I have a modified proposed declination for the board to sign should you wish to release the town's right of first refusal. The parcel is landlocked, and I can tell you that the purchase and sale agreement with the Makepeace Company requires that there be no tree cutting on the parcel, that there be no structures put on the parcel, and that it basically serve as the additional acreage that would allow the second Emerson house to be built. And just before coming here tonight, I was able to obtain from Ellen Blanchard what the rollback tax will be, with just under $1,000 if the right of first refusal is waived. So my hope is that you will sign the, vote to sign the amended declination that I just gave to the town administrator.
Will that lot be off of Mazzilli Drive?
No,
Center
no,
Street.
Center
On
Street.
Center Street.
Okay, because his land seems to border
No.
Mazzilli Drive.
Well,
That-
no,
that-
coincidentally,
Yeah.
Mr. Emerson lives on Mazzilli Drive and is an abutter here. So he is invested in this neighborhood besides.
But the parcel that's hatched will be joined as the rear portion of what's called Lot 2, which is the lot that contains the proposed house on Center Street.
The writing's so small, I
Yeah.
can't read it.
So, we being asked to make a motion to release the right of refusal?
That's correct. Can you follow the map, Mr. Franny?
Sarah just showed me
Yeah.
there, that one there.
And
It's
a
a strangely configured lot, isn't it?
It is, it is. And a condition of the variance is that the additional acreage be joined. For a rear lot, you need 3 acres. And this parcel will allow the lot to have the 3 acres.
It will remain pretty much as is, where you can't cut down any trees or
That's right. That's the only condition under which the Makepeace Company agreed to sell it.
I make a motion, what do we need to make?
Release the right of refusal.
Release the right of refusal.
Okay, I second that motion.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments, questions, concerns?
Are there any negatives to us not going forward with this? I know,
You know, what we look at is there any public good? For a lot of various reasons, DPW, recreation, conservation, whatever, and is the price, because you have to step in the shoes of the buyer, so. And in this case, we found none.
No,
Actually,
okay.
this is a rare incidence where it's actually a better use.
Do we know what the plan is to build there, Jack?
It's the mirror image of the house that
there now.
just was built.
Yep.
It's a 3-bedroom,
Single
2-bath, 2.5
I
bath.
think it is a
Yeah.
3-bedroom, yeah.
It's
It's a
got
raised ranch. I
blue
think.
siding, and you'll see a cleared area to the left and behind it. And
looks like a
as-
colonial.
as Mr.,
Maybe it is a
as
colonial.
Jack just said, not too long ago, it looked quite different.
Oh, my Lord.
You live right near that.
It
It's,
wouldn't serve us any purpose to try and buy it, because it's
Right.
landlocked.
Right.
yeah, it's landlocked and it's just a
just
little
fine.
bit over an acre,
Yeah.
which isn't an acre and a half for a house, unless you add it to something else.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any further comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Thank you. I
Thank you.
have
Thank you.
the declination, and a copy was given to Mr. Malinowski, so if you'd care to sign it, I could take it with me.
This is it. Oh, this is it.
I think we all have one. We could take one of ours.
Well,
Is this it, Richard?
there is one right here.
You sign in my spot. You are now Helen. It doesn't matter if we, no, I'm not gonna be,
Oh, yeah, all right, okay. What the heck?
Dick Ward.
I saw my name here, so I signed under it.
Yeah, they put Jack Franny on there.
It's not easy, trust me. It's not easy. See what I have to operate with there?
How is Mr. Cirque? You too. Miss my husband.
We're already
You
signing
wanted
it.
to, right? We know those clergymen.
What's this?
Yeah, exactly, because they're all probably saying, what are they talking about? The good news, Mr. Cirque, is that we still remember.
They put me at the top.
Ken
not
still
even the
remember.
chairman.
Exactly.
Not everybody.
Can we, why don't you look, yeah.
He needs to sign.
All right, thank you. Moving along. Minutes and licenses. The minutes is of 2/11, 2/25, 2014. Can we lump both of those together?
Is everybody here?
No, Sarah was not here for the
Yeah, I was
February
sick for the
25th, so we'll
25th.
have to do them separately.
Okay.
All right, February 11th meeting.
Make a motion, we accept the minutes of February 11th.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any comments, questions, concerns, recommendations? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. All right. The minutes of the 25th of February, 2014.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes.
We have a motion
Second?
and a second. Any further comments, questions, concerns, recommendations? Jack, are you following with us?
I'm trying to sign all these things. You guys didn't sign all the pages like you were supposed to. I agree with it.
Okay,
Yeah, I already read them.
good.
Then you're gonna have to sign these things.
All right. Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 And I'll have to abstain because I wasn't there.
Jack, you with us on the ayes?
Yes.
Okay. Opposed?
See,
Hearing none. 4-0.
I used to be a treasurer. I
Got
gotta
it.
take care of the treasurer, you know.
Gotta keep moving. Okay. Request for appointment to the Historical Commission. Savory Moore.
Hi,
Hi there. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Welcome to the meeting.
Thank you. My name is Savory Moore. I am a new permanent resident of Carver, but not new to Carver at all. I first came to Carver in May of 1956
Wow.
and have been here every summer, at least, since then. And it's been my lifelong dream to live in Carver, and finally in October, my wife and I retired from the advertising business in New York and made our move here. I've been interested in the history of Carver for as long as I can remember, particularly the Savory family, of which I'm a descendant, and the Sampson's Pond area, which is where the homestead was, and Edaville Railroad, which is dear to my heart. I've known Connie Shaw for quite some time. I'm a very good friend of Diane Sapanic, who was on the commission. This is something that, you know, I've wanted to be involved with since, for a long time, especially as listening to Diane talk about it. So now that I'm here full-time and retired, I do have the time to devote to it, and it's something that I'm looking forward to. I love the town of Carver, and I want to learn as much as I can about it, and I'd like to help preserve what is preservable.
Neat.
I make a motion, we appoint
Excellent.
Savory Moore to the
Second.
Historic
We have
Commission.
a motion and a second. I think it's fantastic. First of all, we can't get enough volunteers to fill all of the posts that we have. to
I'm
begin
hearing
with.
that.
So it's always great when somebody steps forward. And second of all, when you get somebody that's attached historically to this, it's fantastic. So I think it's great. Any questions by the board? Comments?
I also echo your comments. It's outstanding that you're stepping forward and you came back to town and you're getting involved, because we read about all these openings that we have, every meeting we have, and very few times people step forward, and I'm glad you did. And we function by volunteers, so.
Maybe once you get settled and you can reassess your schedule and your time, maybe you can look at a couple of other committees.
Yeah, and
We
I
could use
figured
some
that
help
was
on,
coming.
too. We got you
Yeah,
now.
right.
Or maybe you can come back and give us a history of the Savory
Yeah.
family.
Well, that I know pretty well.
That is very cool that you're willing to serve on that, and I recommend to the papers that they do a little article
Yeah.
on that.
Oh, yes.
That would be great.
Very neat.
No.
Now, where are you in the Savory lineup, in the genealogy?
My Ethel Savory, who was the granddaughter of William Savory, who built Leiden Cottage,
Yeah,
was my great-great-aunt.
neat.
And she and her sister Annie were, for lack of a better term, old maids. And the name was going to go away, and their cousins, their first cousins, were the Moore family. My
Savory Moore. Yeah.
Savory Moore. So my father and I were both given the Savory name as a first name to keep the name going so that it wouldn't die with Annie and Ethel. So,
Well, at least around here,
That's
that name is
interesting
very
also.
distinguished.
I know, I love having people come here because I tell them I own everything.
So do you have a piece of the Moore dog truck too?
I do have a little piece. He's my cousin. He's my first cousin, so yes,
He's a good guy.
yeah, he is.
Well, congratulations and welcome to Carver.
Great, thank you very much.
Great to have you, and we'll look forward to spending time with you. Yeah.
I don't think we voted.
No, we haven't voted yet.
Okay, I'll wait.
We have a motion and a second. Any further questions, comments? None? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We got you now, Savory.
I know, I guess so.
Okay. Request for the use of Shirtlift Park, Church of the Vine, on April 13th, 2014, with a rain date of April 19th, 2014.
Make a motion, we approve.
2 to 4 p.m., and it's going to be an Easter extravaganza.
They've had that for several
Yeah.
years now,
Yes,
right? Yeah.
yep.
We have a motion and a second. Any further comments, questions, concerns? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's unanimous. Application for a common victuals license, Larcher's Inn. And, good evening, ma'am.
Hi,
How are you tonight?
good.
Please let everybody out there know who you are and where you live.
I'm Rain Phillips, and I own the Larches in town. And I was open for several years as a bed and breakfast, and then I closed it, and now I'm looking to reopen.
Okay.
I make a motion, we approve.
We have a motion
Second?
and second. Comments, questions, concerns,
Well, like
recommendations?
she said, she operated it for
Right,
several years,
yeah.
and
Yep.
I always enjoyed riding by and seeing that big old house back there, and
Thank
that
you.
there was a business operating, and hoping that maybe more people that come to visit Edaville Railroad might stay at your place.
Right. I think we'll see a change in that probably in the
We
future.
should all be optimistic that the economy is turning around. Is that it?
Yes, let's.
Okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Thank you.
Opposed? It's unanimous. Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right. Borrego Solar Project Mitigation Discussion.
Mr. Chairman, and members of the board, Jack Hunter and I have been working with Borrego, the developer, and also with the neighbors to try to come up with a solution that everyone can live with. The project was approved by the building inspector. It's in its 30-day appeal process right now in front of the ZBA. No one has appealed it, so there's nothing for them to do. The ZBA has agreed to the settlement with Borrego that protects the town, as has been discussed with you guys previously. So that phase of the project, that project is going forward, subject to an appeal. The neighbors are looking for some additional screening to isolate the project. As we know, the project was reduced from 1 million cells to a smaller footprint that would house 700 solar panel cells, or 700 kilowatts. Again, on a smaller footprint. The screening proposed consists of some modification of berms, some modification of some additional plantings, maybe moving the gate further into the property, a whole smorgasbord of items to screen it in. Some of those modifications can be made, some are more challenging, like we can't build a berm in a wetland. If we move the gate off of the main street, then that encourages dumping, so we need to keep an eye out for those type items. Borrego is in concept willing to consider, even though they have no obligation, additional screening. Some of this screening, they're doing some cost estimates for this week that may be expensive. As a result, they are asking to see if they can, within the smaller footprint, go back to an expanded density. So where they have the walking rows, if you will, within the existing square footage, is to put more cells in there. If they're allowed to do that, which would be a phase 2 of this project, and there's no appeal on the project, in concept, what they're willing to consider doing is donating half of the profit, if you will, from building a 700 kilowatt unit to a 1,000,000 megawatt unit, whatever that increased value is through an open book, accounting exercise, they would donate half of that revenue to a program that would be like the technology for the schools, so the schools could buy computers or something like that, as a show of good faith in there trying to partner with the neighbors.
Would that be on an annual basis?
That would be on an annual basis. We'd probably have to build that into a pilot, just to memorialize that.
Right.
But it would be on an annual basis, and, they're able to increase their density a little bit. The neighbors are able to get more buffering. And to show themselves as a good neighbor, they're willing to share half of those additional profits, with the school department for technology. Now, again, this is all in concept right now. We're still working out some of the details. Some of the neighbors have met with Borrego directly, and if all goes as planned, we hope to wrap this up in the next week or two.
Excellent.
Great.
So
Super.
that's where we're at.
Good.
That's real good
I
news.
kind of expected somebody representing the neighborhood to be here tonight, I guess.
They're working behind the scenes now.
There's a lot of work behind the scenes.
But they were involved with the discussion, right?
Exactly, that's what I'm saying, that's
Yeah,
why
yeah.
there's.
Yes, I've spoken directly to
Okay.
3 or 4 of the neighbors. Eric Tobolsky
Tobolsky,
has
yeah.
been in touch with Borrego directly. He and I've had conversations. And Borrego, again, is working on some modified plans for later this week.
You have-
The Conservation Office has been very helpful in this, as well as the Planning Department in moving this forward.
So you have a pretty positive feeling that you're gonna come to a conclusion on it?
I do, but everything still needs to be put in writing. We've spoken to the lawyers to figure out how to memorialize this. Their recommendation is the best way to do it is with the pilot. And a pilot doesn't have to be any reduction in taxes. It can just be memorializing what the taxes are and these additional fees. But one random person that appeals could
Right.
kill the deal.
Yes.
So it's,
The likelihood of that, though, happening because of the legal fees and everything else involved would be pretty slim, I would think.
well, I think also because with the willingness of putting in the additional buffers, that it may work for everybody's benefit.
Any guesstimate of what that profit would be on that extra 100?
I do not have an estimate on
What is
that
it,
right
about 150 kilowatts per annum?
Well, it'd be 300, the expansion would be 300, so we'd be getting the value of the 150.
Right. So, okay.
So again, that's just an update, that's where we're heading. And if there's no objections, we'll keep on trying to broker this.
No objections whatsoever. I hope we can make everybody
think
happy
it's
in this.
Encourage it.
I think you've done a lot of good work,
Yeah.
Nick, so.
You've done a great job with this so far, so.
When we get a
Okay.
pilot, then we can say it was a good job.
That's it. But getting them all to the table, that was the biggest thing, so I think that says a lot. All right, next up is a public comment period. All these hands in the air at one time. Mr. Donham.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of things. Alan Dunham, 11 Ricard Street. I plugged this at the school committee meeting last night. I'm going to do it again here tonight. I want everybody to keep in mind March 26th, which is March Music Madness. It is a cabaret-style entertainment that's put on by the Carver Middle High School Music Department. It's some great entertainment. It's a reasonable cost. $8 adults, $5 for students and senior citizens, and there is a $25 family cap on that. And it'll be the last, one of the last chances to see a lot of our very talented seniors, both instrumentalists and vocalists, perform for the town. So I strongly recommend, if everybody can, and I'm glad we don't have any other meetings for the 26th, so we'll be able to handle that.
What time?
That is at, good question, 7 to 9 p.m. at the Carver Middle High School, and you buy your ticket at the door.
Great.
There is no advance
What
sales.
night is it anyhow?
That is it, Wednesday night, which would have been right after, the night after the board meeting, but now that's the night after the mobilizing the community meeting, which is on the 25th. One thing, I'm a little concerned, by pushing back the meeting to April 1st, having the school building committee be formed by then. I know there's a 270-day time limit for everything to be done, but I'm a little leery that the time frame, we may be pushing the time frame for the school building committee to be notified to the MSBA. Would we be pushing that at all, or do we have the time to put that in?
We're way ahead of schedule on the
Okay.
270 days with the action items that the superintendent has submitted compared to all the other towns. Because again, we're kind of going through the period in the second time. As it relates to the school building committee, and working with the superintendent, I'm gonna finalize that this Friday. It doesn't need another selectmen's meeting. The selectmen have already authorized the formation of the
Okay,
committee.
good, so it doesn't have to go before the board again.
That is correct.
So you can announce that, like, next week?
Correct. We'll be announcing it Friday.
And just one other quick thing from your working group last Thursday, which was very, it was good to see you all working so well together on that. They did bring up a potential code of conduct for the board, and were you guys planning on leaving that till the next board organizes, or were you gonna start working on that prior to the election? Because I know there was some debate there.
That's in the, and I'll give a copy of this to you and Andy, what was passed out tonight, and in their 5-year goal, in their goal for the next year is to develop that code of conduct. And I suspect it'll be one of the first items that'll be accomplished, but it is in there.
Outstanding, thank you very much.
And that's what we got a committee to review? Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Forrester. How you feeling, Rod?
Okay. Thank you for asking. Good evening, Mr. Chairman. Rod Forrester, 13 Lincoln Circle, Cranberry Village. I have a question, if I may, through you, of the town administrator concerning our water issue. Mr. Malinowski, last time I was in your office, I was asking about the issue that we had spoke about, the well situation that we went through with the storm and no water for 4 hours. I mean, almost 7 hours, I guess, but took them 4 hours to show up. And the last question I was answered was that they were waiting to get a serial number for the generator so they could replace the generator. When I went in to ask, they said that you were waiting to talk to, was it Jerry Farquharson?
Sure. Jerry returned from vacation. He was here last week.
Yes.
He's been moving forward with that project. I'm not aware of a serial number. It may have been that they were looking for the performance specs that were needed. He does have those, and he's identified some vendors off the state bid list to move that project forward. So it is something that we're working on, and we're gonna get it done as soon as we reasonably can.
Okay, that being said, what about in relationship to the performance of the company? The fact that, you know, we were left hanging like 4 hours before they even showed up. And when they got there, they, of course, the road hadn't been plowed, their limbs were down, and, you know, they weren't obviously prepared, even though it was a storm, to deal with the particular situation they were faced with. Or have you spoken with this company to rectify those type of problems?
Sure. I think first we need to recognize that anytime there's a natural event where Mother Nature comes in and dumps down a bunch of trees, that things are going to go slower. We are going to be looking to see about their performance time and trying to have some modifications made to the contract so that they are able to respond in a shorter fashion. You know, what we have to be aware of is that we've contracted this service out to save money. One of the drawbacks to when you contract that out is a contractor may live out of town and may not be able to respond in a snow event as quickly as we'd like. versus if we have full-time employees in the town that can respond, you know, a couple miles down the street. Those full-time employees come with health care and other benefits, and it's more costly to do that. So there is a balance. On one hand, we're trying to save money. When you save money, sometimes your time performance is a little lower. If we want immediate response, we're gonna spend more money. And I haven't heard from your association that you want us to raise the rates, so we have to balance that out. And that's where we're at right now.
That's
And-
true. With the other issue was going, if I may back up to the generator for a moment. Here we are tonight discussing upcoming town meeting, special town meeting. We're discussing that tonight, yet at the last meeting, town meeting, it was voted to replace this generator. And here we are, still waiting to do that. It just, you know,
It's taken
That
longer
could-
than it should.
it certainly should. It seems like had that been taken care of when it was voted on, you know, we wouldn't have been facing those hours without any water. And again, it would have given them time to come down and be able to act in a responsible manner to do their due diligence.
And I understand your concern, and
Yeah.
it's a real concern. Alls that I can be responsible for is when I was made aware of this at our last meeting, is that we've taken appropriate actions to move it forward.
Oh,
It took longer than it should have, but we're moving it forward as expeditiously as possible.
Well, thank you very much. I just was kind of wanted an update. You've done that, and I appreciate that. I'll be looking forward to hearing as it,
When we get it up and running, we'll make sure everyone knows.
beautiful. Maybe we can have a ribbon cutting or something.
Rod, I want to just interject one thing. Mr. Malinowski and I did talk about putting that on the DPW's list for future snowstorms to be cleared so that if there is an issue, when the water company shows up, that will be cleared.
Oh,
So
that's
they won't have to wait for that to be plowed again,
That's
okay?
fantastic.
So,
That's fantastic. Thank you very much.
all right, there are some steps being
I'll
taken.
pass that along to my fellow residents, and I'm sure it'll make them very pleased.
Okay.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You have a good evening.
You too. Take care. Be careful there.
I'll try.
All right, any other public comments? No? We're getting off easy tonight, huh? Okay. All right. In that case, we're gonna be moving into executive session, and can I get a motion from somebody on this, please?
I'll make a motion, move to go into executive session to discuss strategy with respect to preparation for collective bargaining negotiations with unions and for preparation for non-union contract negotiation with non-union personnel that may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining position of the town if held in open session, and to reconvene in open session.
We have a motion
Second.
and a second. Any further comments, questions? Hearing none. All those in favor, please say aye.
We get it.
Jack says aye.
Mike says aye.
Dick says aye.
Helen says aye.